Like Dr. Dutra?
Not Dr. Dutra.
Hello everyone, welcome to Vale do Dendê cast, and we are here in a very special place. We are here at Pelourinho at Camarote Vale do Dendê, which is in the Brazilian carnival culture a lounge to receive guests to prepare themselves for the beautiful carnival. We are here just behind us, the beautiful carnival, a lot of a good energy and blocos, samba, all these afoxés here of Bahia. And I'm here with a very important guest for a very informal but informing conversation about how can we make this bridge possible between Brazil and the United States, especially the African Americans and Afro-Brazilians. And they represent Howard University, a very prestigious university in the United States. That's I visited a few years ago, and then I became a fan of this important institution. And now I'm very happy to host them here at our Camarotes. We have had professors here that they're going to introduce themselves, but also we have a lot of students that also came for this exchange program. So I'll just start, asking them to introduce themselves, explain a little bit about their work at Howard, but also outside the university, and then we can talk a little bit more about these possibilities of doing more collaboration. So I'll start with Tonija, a good friend of mine. We know each other for several years ago, and then I think Tonija can talk a little bit more also about coming to Brazil from a long time to now, right? So Tonija, thank you so much to have you here.
Thank you, Paulo. Vale do Dendê, thank you for having us. Thank you for hosting us. My name is Tania Hope. I am the director of the Ralph Bunche International Affairs Center at Howard University in Washington, D.C. This is not my first time here, but it is my first time during Carnival.
Okay.
So I think that's a big deal. For me, it's a big deal. We'll do the introductions first,
Okay.
and then we'll come back and talk about the other stuff.
Sure. Then Mariko, please.
Absolutely. So again, thank you, Paulo, and your team at Vale do Dendê for hosting us. I am Dr. Mariko Carson. I am the Director of Graduate Affairs at Howard University in their School of Business, and I'm responsible for the oversight of our graduate level programs at the university. So thank you again.
Dr. Vaneesha.
Paulo, thank you for having us. This has been an amazing experience. This is also my first time, not my first time to Salvador, but my first time here during Carnival, and it has been phenomenal. My name is Professor Vaneesha Dutra. I am a finance professor in the School of Business at Howard University, and I do a great deal of work in helping black entrepreneurs in the United States grow and scale their businesses. So that is one of my primary focuses. Happy to be here.
Nice, amazing. We're very, very, very happy that have you guys here. I mean, not just because it's you guys represent a very important institution, but because we at Vale do Dendê love collaboration and bring international folks here. And during the Carnival, for us, it's a very important moment because Carnival is not only for party. Of course, it's a moment for party, for drink and dance, etc. But it's also a very important moment for meet people and doing relationships and connections. So I would like to first, this next round, to you guys to talk about your perception about, about your work specifically, then your perception about Brazil in regard to your work. For example, the international exchange programs at the university, the business, etc.
Sure. So at the Bunche Center, we are kind of the nexus of all things international at Howard University. So one of the things we try to do is support all of the 14 schools and colleges at Howard University in achieving their international goals and objectives, part of the internationalization process. And one of the things that I think has been most important in my doctoral research, I came up with a framework called Black Internationalization, which speaks to the feeling, the importance that it is for our students and our faculty to engage with the black world in particular. And a lot of people for study abroad choose to go to Western Europe, but our students really like to come to places like Salvador or Colombia or what have you. And so this exchange program that my colleagues have organized here fits very nicely into Black internationalization, and the students are going to have an amazing time. It is Carnival. It is an exceptional time to be here for a number of reasons, culturally, but also the creative economy that blossoms in this particular moment, I think, is something to behold. So I am excited for them to experience and learn from being here in this particular moment.
You said a very important word for us, expression, which is creative economy. It just the Carnival attracts to the city 2 billion reais every year, and then generates thousands of jobs just in this 1 week. Because I don't know if you guys are watching this, have a context, but Salvador's Carnival is the biggest street party in the planet by the Guinness Book. So it's a very serious business, to your, conversation of Dr. Vaneesha about the business. This is a big business for Bahia. We attract thousands of tourists from everywhere in the world, and then when they're here, they have to go to a hotel, they have to buy things, and it's very important. So again, for your students here, when they are here, they are seeing not only the surface, which is the party, but it's important to them to understand the business behind the carnival. And now, I'll have to Dr. Mariko to talk about your specific work at Howard, and then also what's your first perception coming here?
Absolutely. So yes, that I did forget to mention that this is my first time in Brazil, and so I'm super excited to be here. I've already been just in awe of just the beauty and the vibrance of Brazil just in general, and I think that my students feel that same energy. The purpose around, kind of to Tonija's point, of coming to Salvador was really to kind of refocus our sights on the lesser traveled arenas globally. Global engagement is a critical component to business in general, and to your point, we learned today during our tour that I think that Carnival employs 1 million people and then attracts another 2 million people over, and really is an instrumental component to Salvador's economy in general. It helps it run for the entire year. So that was profound to hear. And I think it's important that our students understand, what the business, like you said, the business around this creative atmosphere. You have your security services, you've got healthcare, you've got the schools involved. Like, everyone is involved in the facilitation of how this goes for the 10 days. And so I felt like it was instrumental for our students to get an immersive experience into understanding the business behind that. So I'll say that, 2 years ago, Dr. Dutra and I actually took a group of students to Ireland. And immediately, upon completion of that study tour, Dr. Dutra, who's kind of a seasoned veteran in Brazil, said, "You know what? The next place it's got to be Salvador."
Should be Salvador.
And so it has been a long time coming. And so again, we're just super excited to be here. We looped Tonija into the conversation, and we're like, "How do we make this happen?" We learned that we actually have an MOU with a memo of understanding for those of the listeners who are not familiar with that. With a local university. Perfect. And we decided that we would leverage that and really start to foster the connections that are already in place and really kind of reactivate the engagement. And I felt like, what better place to start that than Salvador.
Perfect. Talking about business, Dr. Vaneesha Dutra, before you coming here, I spoke to you about how we can help also African Americans, and Americans in general, business, but especially African Americans, to come to Bahia, to Brazil. Myself, I was involved in the bringing Afropunk, which is a big festival in the US, to here, and it was a big success. And now it's almost the second, maybe getting to really close to the income that the Afropunk Global have in US, in Brazil, right? Which is a very good information. So how can we facilitate this process? How you at university are thinking about that?
I want to go back to something you said originally, Paulo. Carnival is more than just parties in the street. And
Yes.
I think when you see that, the narrative around Carnival on YouTube or
Yes.
something, you just see people partying.
Yes.
Our students come here for business.
For sure.
We came here to handle business.
Yes.
And through our partnership with you, Paulo, we have our students working in collaboration with an Afro-Brazilian company, Afro Saúde, and we're serving as a consultant for that company to help them understand how they can not only sustain their business,
Yes.
but grow their business. This is regardless of what country you are in. If you are of African descent,
For sure.
the challenges around growth and scale are just that. They're challenges. So we share, what we're trying to get our students to understand is that we share, we're many countries away from each other, but we all share the same challenges, yet opportunities exist through that.
very
So that's the lens. What this trip has done for our students, and I'll tell you what I think we can do for you, is it has allowed them to understand that they have a very American, they see things through a very American lens.
Sure.
As they started to dig deep into thinking about how Afro Saúde, this company they're working with, can grow, they were thinking dollars and cents, which is important. They were thinking, how can we take advantage of this community? How can we do this and how can we grow? And that's great, but understanding the culture is extremely important. What I have learned from being here is that Afro-Brazilians, as we all should be, are very communal in nature.
Yes.
We are not, the economy here or the mindset here is not necessarily the capitalist mindset where I've got to make $1 off of everybody I meet.
Yes, for sure.
We're very
It's different.
communal. If I have food, then my neighborhood
You can
has
share,
food.
yeah.
If my children need shoes, I'm going to give my shoes, and I'm not going to ask you anything for it.
Yes.
So my students actually were challenged because they
Didn't understand the mindset.
they couldn't understand the mindset. So I think that in and of itself is an education for our students because now, because of this, and you being open and helping us with this partnership, our students will walk into any setting, global in nature, and understand, at least be aware that they have this lens and add value to a group discussion in a very different way because they are aware.
That's true.
The awareness of this American mindset is half the battle. So now they can say, hey, I'm thinking like an American. Let me take that off and see how I can help the client. And so this has been a tremendous opportunity for us. Where I see a collaboration, Black businesses here, Black Americans here, Black Americans there. We just want to live and support our families. It's really just that simple.
That's simple, yeah.
So I see Howard offering education to Black Brazilians here.
Yes.
I see us offering more of this consulting collaboration.
Perfect.
This knowledge exchange.
crucial.
And which leads to a cultural exchange, which feeds both of us.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to talk about where we can continue to go with this.
Perfect. Now, for those who are watching here, more probably in Brazil, who doesn't have much context about Howard, I had the privilege to, hang out many times at the Howard campus, meet Howard students and professors, and being a fan, as I said. But some people here don't know much about Howard, so I would like you guys to explain what is Howard, what Howard represents for the Black community in the U.S., why Howard is considered the most prestigious, HBCU. That's, I don't know if you can say that, but that's what people say, right? So, what is HBCU? Because people here don't know exactly what HBCU means. So, if you could talk about this, it'd be nice.
Sure. So Howard University is a university that was founded in 1867. It is a historically Black university. Historically Black colleges and universities, that is what HBCUs stands for. And HBCUs were created because during the time of slavery in the United States, when Black people were not allowed to learn to read and write, as soon as we were permitted to do that, the first thing that we did were create schools and institutions to teach ourselves how to read and write. And from those schools evolved most of these historically black colleges and universities, of which there remain about 107 left in the, there used to be a lot more, but right now there's only 107 left. Howard is not the oldest, it's not the biggest, but it is the best.
Nice.
To be clear.
To be clear. Okay.
Nice. So
Gonna get us in trouble.
yeah, now I know.
It's on the record. It's on the
It's on
record.
the record.
Please, now you can give a little bit more context about the schools, because people also don't know. I mean, okay, there's a medicine school there. There's, I mean, that probably the most, all the areas they have there. So could you explain a little bit more as well?
Yeah. So what I'll say is that one of the things, higher education in the United States is their prominence is determined by how they are ranked. And so one thing that we are really proud of, and what makes Howard kind of stand out among some of the other HBCUs, is that it does tend to be one of the nationally ranked, the only nationally ranked HBCU in the country. School of Business, I think, I can't remember what the last one, but I know it's in the top 100. Nice. And I think there are a couple of other schools throughout the institution that are nationally ranked as well. And so that's why we pride ourselves on just, the accolades that Howard has achieved. And, we recently reached our Research 1 status, which means that it holds the same level of research status as some of the most prominent colleges and universities in the nation. We are also the first HBCU to establish that status. So that's why Howard kind of stands out. And then I guess I'll pass on to you to add to the value of Howard University.
I mean, if you look at all of our graduates, it speaks for itself. We've had some phenomenal people walk through our walls. Howard reached the national stage because guess what? We had Vice President Kamala Harris.
That's very true.
Running for president, and she is a Howard University grad. I mean, I don't want to just. There are many greats.
I know. Yeah.
A great deal of our civil rights
icons, right?
acts that were passed. The icons that were instrumental in that legislation went to Howard, or those documents were signed or brainstormed at Howard in our library, Founders Library. So there's a great deal of history.
All right.
We're very proud.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then we in Brazil don't have this tradition of a black historical college because the legislation were different. We never had the formal segregation, although the segregation was here always in some laws specifically, but there are some difference. But nowadays we have some institutions, education institutions who are mirror what you guys accomplished in the United States, like Zumbi dos Palmares in São Paulo, and Steve Biko here, and other, even schools like kindergarten, etc. Try to think about the importance of educate we control our narrative and control our education, right? So it's very inspiring. So we are approaching the end of this conversation, but I want to just talk about now the possibilities of having Howard's institution coming to Brazil. I know you cannot talk details about this, but just the overall dream. Like, all projects start with a dream, right? If you have this chair, before the chair, someone makes the chair, it was in someone's mind, right? So I think we all here because we share this idea of having maybe my case. I want to have a Howard campus in Brazil, in Bahia. That's my dream, but it's personal idea, and I don't want to make you guys say something that you're not yet developed. But I just want to have you guys think about the last moment of the round of the conversation about how it would be great having Howard's presence in Brazil, how it would be great having more Afro-Brazilian students there, things like that, right?
I think when I was here a couple of years ago, you walked us around Pelourinho. You even identified a building that you wanted us to buy to establish the Howard University campus in Salvador. And I have not forgotten that. And I have told people about that. And so I think having a permanent Howard presence here is a dream. It would be a dream. It is a dream. Hopefully it's a dream that can one day become reality. That obviously is going to take resources. But I don't think that the will is absent. I think the will and the interest of having something like that exists. but resources are always a challenge.
Yes.
And I will say that in terms of having students from Brazil, Afro-Brazilian students come to Howard, that is also, I think, that is key. Almost more than the other way around, almost. Because Howard has had a history of preparing leaders from across the diaspora. So not just the civil rights leaders from the United States, but African liberation leaders,
Yes, I heard about that.
Caribbean liberation leaders as well. So, we're all still not quite free yet. And so what perfect time for Afro-Brazilian students to come to Howard to continue the process of liberation for all of us.
It should be powerful. It definitely will be something very powerful. So,
I concur. I think that in my hope is that a presence, a Howard University presence in Brazil should be the natural next step. I think that speaking about some of the achievements that Howard has made over the years, kind of moves us toward expansion.
Yeah.
We have a lot of students who come to Washington, D.C. to study, and I think the natural next step is for us to, have a space for our students to be able to branch out globally. And most universities do have an extension campus, so why not Howard?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even in Brazil, you have a Columbia extension here. In Rio de Janeiro, we have some other American universities here, and I think that's definitely a time to us to really think about that. You already have a space, the Vale do Dendê, at very least a place for you guys to start to do something. Yeah. We are a hub, just people who don't know about Vale do Dendê. We are a hub to connect startups, innovation, creatives here at the center of Salvador. And then we have 8 rooms. It's like a nice place for conventions and talks. So maybe we can have programs that can be run here. But so Dr. Vaneesha Dutra.
I'll end it. I don't have much to say. I think my colleagues have done a terrific job, but this is the beginning. The beginning. Our students are here, so let's figure out the next steps. Perfect. Everything starts with a dream, right?
Yes.
We're beyond the dream because we're here. Perfect. So let's take it to the next step.
Perfect. So thank you so much to you all for being watching here this conversation, for our amazing guests that came from far away, just arrived yesterday, right? So in Salvador for this conversation, and then please enjoy this beautiful city, and I hope you guys can come back always here. And then if you want to know more about Howard University, just go to their page, I guess, in the Instagram, etc. It's an amazing institution to follow. And Vale do Dendê as well, just I hope that at Vale do Dendê and all social media. Thank you so much, and have a good day for you all. Okay?
Muito obrigada.
Tchau, obrigado.